Something I've been thinking about is that trauma doesn't really exist. And I know that sounds crazy, but let me explain. What's up, everybody? Coach Phil here. Just wanted to come on here today and chat with you guys a little bit. This is something I've been wanting to do a lot more of here in the upcoming months in the future. So you're going to be seeing a lot of this kind of style of videos. But I just want to get on here and chat a little bit. I always have so much shit going on in my mind. And then I'll be thinking I have really awesome thoughts. And then I keep them all to myself, and then I'm like, well, how the fuck am I ever going to know if they're awesome thoughts? I might just be having really stupid thoughts that I think are really cool, and then, I'm just keeping them all to myself. How will I ever know? They might be really good. They might also be really stupid, but this is the only way to find out, kind of put it out. Let the people see it, let the people hear it, and you guys can let me know. But one thing I wanted to talk about today is trauma. This is something I think a lot of people don't like to talk about. It's a little bit of a touchy subject. No one wants to get into their traumas, things that are holding them down, that, are bringing them down in life. But I think it's something that we should all probably bring up a little bit more and really dive into what trauma, really is. So something I've been really thinking of, and I'll relate it to my own personal experiences as well, is how I've let trauma, or whatever trauma is, and I'll kind of get into what I think it is, but whatever trauma is, how I've let it affect me, my life, my confidence, and my decisions throughout my life. And something that I've really noticed growing up, and so a little bit of backstory if you don't know me or know my story. When I was 17, my mom, she had committed suicide. That was really rough. It was 5 days before my senior year of high school. With that, I was also moved up to a new state that I had no friends in, so I had to start at a new high school, no friends, and 5 days before that had happened. And, so it was a really rough time. I was really depressed for obvious reasons, fell into a really dark hole, and I felt like I gave that moment power over me because I labeled it as trauma, right? So something I've been thinking about is that trauma doesn't really exist. And I know that sounds crazy, but let me explain. So, what I mean by that is trauma only exists in the sense of what power you give to it. So, we've all had shitty things that have happened to us, and you're probably thinking, "What? He doesn't know. What does he mean? Trauma doesn't exist. I've had so boom, boom, boom happen." So have I, bro. I could go on the list too. We've all had crazy shit happen to us, right? That's kind of the human experience, right? Some people's stuff is worse than others. Some people's stuff may seem more minute to you, but everybody's troubles are their troubles, and they face them and have to deal with them on their own, right? So my thinking is really that we use trauma as almost a crutch. We put our own let's say our lack of our own inabilities, we correlate them to the trauma. We're like, okay, I'm a shitty partner, I'm a bad this, I'm a bad that, and it's because this happened, like a correlation. This happened, so now I'm this. When now I'm starting to think, and that was my mindset too for most of my life, and really only until the last year where I've really started shifting my mind, is thinking that it's not necessarily what happened to you, it's what you do with what happened to you. So there's what happened to you, but it's how you react to it, right? So whatever happened to you, and then how you choose to react to that thing that happened to you. So for my instance, and I could, like I said, I could go on a list, but I'll just use just one that comes off the top of my head is my mother's suicide, right? I could use that, and I did, as the reason why I'm going to do drugs. That's why I can drink all the time and party. I have this built-in excuse almost that I gave myself. Not the trauma did, that I gave myself because of the trauma. So I gave the power to the trauma, right? Whereas now I'm starting to use it and see it more as I can use what happened to me as a vehicle to be greater and to be my highest self, right? So rather than okay, this thing happened to me that was bad, think of something happened to you that's bad. I'm sure there's something right now that came right up to your head, right top of your mind. Whatever happened to you, you can either use it as the reason you are a failure, or you can use it as the reason you are a success. And I know that sounds crazy, and it sounds simple, and that's kind of the whole point of it. It's very simple, and things that are very simple are also very hard. So a good example that I was reading in a book recently is that brushing your teeth. Great example, right? Everyone can tell you that it's pretty easy to brush your teeth, right? That's also why it's very easy not to brush your teeth, right? We all have the nights where you don't feel like it, you don't brush your teeth. I know I'm guilty of it. We've all had it. I don't know if anyone else is perfect or not, but so that's a good example. Making your bed's another good example, right? Very easy to make your bed. That's also why it's super easy just to roll out of the house and not make your bed, right? The simple things are sometimes the hardest things to do. So I'll say that again. The simple things are sometimes the hardest things to do because they are so simple. So it's like this crazy paradox, right? We can either give the trauma all this power over us, or we can take that trauma and make it into a power for us, right? So like my whole shift recently is I'm using everything bad that has happened to me as knowledge, as experience, as fuel, as motivation, as a kind of a framework of what I want to be, who I want to be, right? And that comes back to a lot of different things like a personal mission statement and core values and really who you want to be when, it's all said and done. What do you want to be remembered for? And I feel like some people don't even think about that. And that's something I've been thinking about a lot recently is like, who do you want to be remembered for? And what do you want people to know you for? Are you going to be that person who never spoke up, never said anything? Or is the person who used their trauma forever to, just not be their best self? That's really what it comes down to. Are you going to use your trauma to be your highest self, to fuel you, to be the inspiration and like the lesson that you had to learn so that you could become greater? Or are you going to use it as really an excuse to your own demise, to your own suffering? And really, it all comes down to you. You have that power, which is something I've been loving to, really dive into as a fighter, as just a human. It's cool to know that you have this power inside you. And a lot of people try to discredit that. And I'll go into a lot of different things. That may be one of the reasons I don't really like religion, because it takes that power away from you in a sense. And I really like that the power is within you. All of us. You, me, everyone around us, we are these powerful human beings. We're all the same thing with this mind that can do so many amazing things if we take the step and make the choice to do that. We can also make that same choice because it's just as easy to not do those things, and that's kind of what it comes down to. So the big thing I've really been thinking about, does trauma really exist? Yeah, it exists. But what are you going to do with it? Like, it exists only in what you make it exist. Is it going to be the reason that you are super successful, or is it going to be the reason you're a failure? And it all comes down to you. And that's the best part about it. It's no one else. It's all in you. It's all within you. That's my message for the day. Just want you to think about that. If you disagree, I'd love to hear it in the comments. If you agree, I'd love to hear about it too. If you just have to, any comments at all, I'd love to hear about it. But I think that's the message for the day. Love to just get a little bit more of these out, talk a little bit more about what's on my mind. And I don't care, honestly, and that's the fun thing about this, I think, too, that more people need to keep in mind is, and try to remember, and it took time for me to do it as well, too, that's why I just started doing this, is I don't care what people think. Like, you can think whatever you want about me. You are not me. There's very few people whose opinions honestly matter to me. They're like my girlfriend Julie's, my family. There's a few peers I have, a few like mentors I would say in my life that I respect, and I hope they would respect me back. But like other than that, dude, like the people on the internet, I don't give a fuck. I don't care about these people all around me who aren't trying to do what I'm trying to do or live the life I'm trying to live. They're just noise. They're just, flies on the wall, distractions to what I'm trying to do. So you'll be seeing more of these. I'm excited. I hope you guys got something out of this. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more of these, but you're going to see them either way. So that's it. Love you guys. Coach Phil is out.